How's it going, everybody? This is RONIN 47R, and thank you very much for tuning in again for another video. Today we are doing a review of the French premium tank that just came out today, March 9th at midnight. And this particular tank is a Tier 5 artillery piece, and it is called the 105 leFH18B2. Try saying that 3 times fast. What I'm doing for you here is running through the store and purchasing it for $2,800, which is the cost of the package. And it comes with the standard garage, the 100% crew member, and it does come with 2 pieces of kit, which is the camouflage net and the GLD. Going out of order from my past videos, it's already in the garage, and I'm just jumping right into the equipment section there. Because the first thing I'm going to do is sell the camouflage net. If you go to compare-tanks.com, you'll notice some statistics on World of Tanks, and the short answer basically is that there is a 9% camouflage rating for this particular tank. Therefore, I don't feel the camouflage net is worth having. It's not worth filling up an equipment slot. Also, artillery is known for having a slow aiming time and a slow reload time. Therefore, I'm going to keep the GLD. I'm going to add a gun rammer. And then with this particular tank, it has a 390 meter view range. I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to add the binoculars so I can get 25% additional view range. Now it's time to jump over to the consumables and taking a look at the ammunition. I'm going to go ahead and use HE for the majority of my shells. And so I'm going to go and drop that down to 38. Premium up to 2, AP up to 2. My supplies will be my typical loadout of the fire extinguisher, first aid kit, and the repair kit. Although I normally don't run into the need to use those items on artillery, I just like to have them just because. Also, too, I want to go ahead and give a disclaimer. I by am no means an artillery expert. I'm quite the opposite. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump over and take a look at the non-premium French Tier 5 artillery, the AMX-13. And it is specifically the AMX-13 AMMLE.55 that I'm specifically interested in. That denotes the exact package, which is the highest N package. And it serves as a baseline. Whenever you compare a premium, or judge a premium, if you will, you have to have a baseline, something to compare it to. Now, the non-premium has a 280 horsepower engine. It does have a 105 millimeter gun. The rate of fire is 5.45. The pen is 60. The damage is 445. The aim time is 5 seconds. The accuracy is 0.68. The traverse for the treads is 30 degrees, and the view range is 350 degrees. Now, I know I'm sending out, a bunch of data at you, but just try to, keep that in mind when we compare it to the premium tank, the B2 here. This has a 307 horsepower engine, okay, so it's a little more powerful. It has a 105 millimeter gun, so it's the same, millimeter, same diameter. But what about the rate of fire? Well, it's a 6.45, so you're getting a lot quicker rate of fire. Now, the pen is 53, and the damage is 410. Okay, not too shabby. Aim time, 5.09. The accuracy, 0.73, so it's a little worse accuracy. But there's some other aspects that you can see that have increased. And this is, again, before adding any type of cruise skills, any type of equipment. The traverse for the treads, 22 degrees. So this is going to turn very, very slow. And as far as the view range, 390, as I said earlier. That's a plus. All right, so on paper, the stats for this premium tank look pretty good. You're giving up a little bit of pen, a little bit of damage, but you are increasing your rate of fire. You've increased your view range and so forth, and it looks pretty good with the paint on there. I'm also adding my emblem that I run on all my tanks. What's interesting to me about this tank is that it is similar to the T-34-88 in that it is a captured French piece by the Germans and has been retooled with a German gun. So naturally, I wanted to take a look at its roots, where it came from, and looking at a French heavy tank, you can see the very same hull there. Looks very similar to the Tier 5 premium artillery piece, and it should look very familiar. There you go. All right, so now that we've taken a look at the tank, looked at a few of the stats, you can see the overview there from the garage by pressing Y. You get an idea of some of the armor of the 60, 60, 55, you know, but are we going to rely on that? No, it's artillery. I guess it'll hold up against small arms fire from someone's armored car, but that's about it. Standard rules apply about angling your armor, and you know, you just don't want to be seen, you don't want to be shot at. Now, this first battle is taking place on Redshire, and as I've said before, I am by no means an artillery expert. Well, I'm not a tank expert anyway, but artillery is my weakest area. I understand the concepts, and I do my best to contribute to the team. But other than that, I'm still way in the learning stages. You know, where to go. I don't have memorized, you know, ranges and shell speeds and that sort of thing. So, you know, it's quite the adventure to create this review for you here. But that's half the fun, you know, is doing things that are new and trying things on. Alright, so now the adventure continues. I am not platooned up, and I am playing with a bunch of random folks here. Turns out that the artillery, the green artillery located in B8 is AFK. He hasn't moved a bit. Meanwhile, there's a light tank that is plugging away at him and will continue to move west towards us unopposed. That's a problem. I'm trying to take the high ground over here at the B2-ish area, using the trees for concealment and also trying to get a straight line of sight on the flag area, which the party will most likely be happening. One of the challenges you'll notice is that the incredibly slow speed of this tank makes it hard for you to get into the fight. You're looking at almost 2 minutes into the game, and I have yet to put one shell downrange. There I go, trying to tell my team, hey, there's a bad guy coming, and I'm scared. Help me. But nobody's heading in that direction. Another artillery piece is also acknowledging that he is in danger. All right, like I said before, I'm pretty new to artillery. I don't know all the specific places on every map to have the best shot at the enemy as an artillery, but I'm learning as I go. Now that shot looked pretty accurate. Now look at the rate of fire. 8.02 seconds. I do not have Brothers in Arms fully developed. I am using my best French crew, but like I said, I don't have Brothers in Arms fully developed yet. And just a little too slow on that shot. Meanwhile, you can see it's a little over 3 minutes into the game, and we only have 5 players left. But I'm not going to give up. We're going to keep fighting. There we go. Again, not being an expert, but rule of thumb, you want to let your aiming reticle get as small as possible, because the circle of the aiming reticle is supposedly where the shell will go, somewhere within that circle. Your hope, of course, is that it goes dead center. Hitting a moving target also is very challenging for me in artillery. I mean, it's challenging in a regular tank with a straight line of sight, but in artillery, it's it's really challenging for me. Now we're down to 2 heavies and 2 artilleries. Now I'm thinking at this point, somehow, magically, granted they have 4 artilleries, but as long as these 2 heavies play it smart, if they take out this medium tank, you know, pincer move this guy. Keep moving. Don't get hit by the artillery. We can take these guys. somehow one of the heavy tanks, because I'm scoped in, so I don't really know exactly what's happening to them, but one of the heavy tanks, he gets killed. Now we lose sight of this medium tank. We know that he is somewhere in the flag circle or very close to it because, you know, it continues to make the alarm and then stops. I'm looking for tracer fire. And meanwhile, we don't know what the 4 enemy artillery are doing. And here comes the waiting game. I don't know why the heavy tank on my team is still kind of camped out at B1, but his, you know, he's got his sandwiches and his red and white blanket out, and he's having lunch. But it cost him, and he died. Now, I did see the tracer fire earlier, so I'm trying to fire for effect over here, but I'm not getting any damage icons or critical hits. And there goes the flag again. So this has happened to me before in artillery, not this tank, but in the past game. It's been down to 2 artillery pieces, and one of them just stands there and waits. I'm not going to do that because they're going to have the initiative. They're going to surround me. I'm going to go down fighting. So I'm going to try to spot this guy, and I'm hoping that my artillery piece is going to be smart enough to stay in a position to act as artillery and shoot at whatever it is that I spot. So I asked him to cover me. And here I am pedaling as fast as I can. I'm going to try to hug this mountain, which I feel is on the opposite side of, hopefully, the enemy artillery. Now, I don't know why, but my friendly artillery piece decides to get right next to me. Little does he know, I would assume, that if an HE is dropped right between us, we can both get hit with one shot. So you never bunch up. Not a good move. All right, so I saw a tree fall over by the flag. Turns out to be an artillery. I'm getting hit, and I'm trying to take out this medium. I figure, you know what, just sitting there, I'm toast. I'm spotted on and off. I'm going to try to rush this guy. I'm by myself, but I couldn't pull it off. So it turns out to be a defeat. Let's see how the score turns out. Well, granted, there is a little bit of operational rewards, but when it comes to the defeat, I was able to squeak out 30,000 silver, I guess close to 31 if you round up, and 2,000 on the experience. And that's with destroying 2 tanks, and I came out on the top on the greens. That's not my skill. I think it was just the luck of the draw. In the proper hands, I'm sure this tank could earn a lot more money. Let's see if I can try to get lucky again on this Pacific Island map, which happens to be a standard battle. Now again, being new to artillery, meaning I hardly practice it, I'm going to go ahead and go for straight line of sights. In other words, try to find positions where I am not going to be obstructed by the mountain, rocks, hills, things of that nature. And also, based on experience, where do tanks like to find high traffic areas? So I'm trying to predict where people like to go, and at least get focused in those areas so that I can hopefully have a head start on the aiming process. Only a 73 point roll there. And a blind fire got me some reward. One of the problems that I personally have, I mean, this is by no means an issue of the tank, but just, you know, when it comes to artillery, I have this problem. I mean, it really is a problem, and I see so many targets, and I get all excited. Which one am I going to shoot for? And you got to make up your mind. You know, I keep telling myself, come on, Ronan, just pick one, stick with it, because every time you move, you adjust or lose your aiming. And if you do move a little bit too much, and the hull has to move, wow, then you really get penalized and you're really starting over. And there's me being a day late and $1 short. Every time I get the beat on somebody. Here we go, watch this. I will help you guys. And oh my gosh. Yeah, I kind of suck. You know, this is a perfect example, though. You know, a lot of people, well, I shouldn't say the word a lot, but okay, so there are many people that I have found that hate on artillery. And when I say hate on them, I mean specifically they'll say, it's easy to be artillery. You just click and, you know, it doesn't take skill and all that kind of stuff. Me personally, as you can see, based on my lack thereof, you know, artillery, I have a lot of respect for them. I mean, you know, absolutely, they are powerful as far as, you know, just the weapon itself. But how to play artillery is so different than any other tank type in World of Tanks. I mean, I'm very familiar that heavies, mediums, you know, lights, everybody, they play differently, of course. But of the five categories, four of them are at least in the same neighborhood. And artillery is down the block and make a turn, you know? It's way different. Way different. I don't pretend to know what I'm talking about, but some of the things that I've noticed personally, and it could be just luck and I'm clueless here, but it appears that there is still the opportunity, the strategy to aim when you are in artillery, similar to tanks where, you know, standard tank, line of sight. You're aiming for weak points, turret rings, machine gun ports, that sort of thing. Now, granted, obviously, you're not going to have a straight shot at someone's machine gun port. What I'm referring to is it's more of obviously a top-down, but for instance, at this particular tank right now, I have a side shot. So I have an opportunity to track this tank. If I put the crosshairs over the, say, the engine deck, that increases the chance to literally, you know, start fires, affect the engine, that sort of thing. So my point is that it has been my experience that there is definitely the opportunity to have a rhyme and reason as to where to shoot. For those people that are very good at artillery, which I am not, I do understand that there is the strategy, the ability to, you know, when someone's hiding behind a rock, you can actually bounce shots, meaning you can purposefully shoot at a rock or a hard object, a cliff, and the explosion will still damage the tank. And they do that on purpose. But again, that comes with experience and understanding how to use artillery correctly. So the end of this game resulted in a victory. Not much help by me, but almost 35,000 silver. You know, 27 for experience. I only destroyed one tank, but it looks like I got you know, a couple hits, a couple damage hits. You know, 6. So that's cool. That helped out. What I find in World of Tanks in general is killing tanks is fun, absolutely, but just damage the enemy. The more times you can damage the enemy, the better off you're going to be all the way around. Scores, team winning, so on. So let's see what I can do here on this battle on steps. With this tank going a whopping, you know, 21 kilometers per hour. Oh, the wind must be blowing because I'm going 22 kilometers per hour now. So I'm hauling butt here. And this map is one of the, you know, air quotes, newer maps. But what I'm thinking is because the flag is located there in that valley, it probably would behoove me to go towards this this position over here in the A3, A4-ish area. Um, that's my mindset. I'm sure there's some expert artillery people out there that are saying, Ronin, what is this guy doing? He doesn't know how to play artillery. And you're right. You know, compared to those folks that do artillery all the time. So I'm going to take a risky move and come up on this cliff here, this outcropping. And the reason being is that I am trying to get some elevation above the berm where the train is located, as well as the actual train cars. At any sign of trouble, absolutely, I'm going to tuck my tail between my legs and run really fast down that hill to take some cover. Now we have some enemy tanks that are being spotted, thank goodness. They're spreading out. It looks like the Greens have a pretty nice line. I was pretty impressed for these randoms to have this spread out line. And you can see some of the inaccuracies, you know, with the shells being pretty far off, and sometimes a little far off, a little off. But again, as long as I'm doing some damage, I'm happier than missing completely. And you know, blind shots are always a big fun thing to do. Now here, I'm trying to make a choice, and I mentioned this earlier. It's, you know, pick a target and stick with it. These guys are obscured, but they're coming out, they're going in. Can I get splash damage? I need to learn how to do artillery better and know how to qualify my targets more quickly, because the quicker I can put my gun into the fight, the better off my teammates will be in my assisting to protect them. I'm salivating at this open turreted tank here. Let's see here, he's blocked, but now this is where I'm trying to do some splash damage. He actually backs into it, thankfully, and I got a 401 roll on that. Partially, I would say, is due to it being an open turreted tank. They're more vulnerable to HE. So somebody's over there in the cap circle. Alarm's going off, but we have a lot of greens over there. I'm not going to worry too much about it. The other thing that I've learned, assuming I have a clue what I'm talking about, is that you're supposed to prioritize your targets. If all things are being equal, you know, tank destroyers over a scout. Tank destroyers are very dangerous, and given the opportunity, get those guys out of the game quickly. Same thing with artillery. Then go down to heavy tanks, medium tanks, and scout tanks. That doesn't mean if someone is right in front of you, you ignore them. I'm just saying if all things are being equal. But then again, I'm sure, and I'm hoping, and I'd appreciate, you know, you artillery viewers out there who know way more than I do. Absolutely, please chime in. You know, post something in the discussion. Email me, set me straight. I always want to learn how to play better, and I don't want to be sending out the wrong information. I only know what I've experienced and you know, what I've heard or seen. Now here I am working on this AT over and over again, and I forgot to mention earlier, so shame on me. I'm a little tired because, like I said, I just purchased this right after midnight, started gathering data, the recording, you know, went to sleep, woke up, and in between real life events, trying to edit and then publish this thing. But what I was going to say is that, you know, I'm working on this AT over and over again, and you know, you do see it's a tier 5, but you don't get special matchmaking. So here I am facing a tier 7, and with these HE rounds, they are just not really doing a lot of damage. I've played with some armor piercing, not in this round, but in previous rounds, and you know, they don't necessarily do that much better unless you're lucky and you're hitting someone where there's very little armor. Then it can get inside and do a lot of damage, but then you're back to kind of like the HE. So it's just too much of a hit and miss gamble for me. I'd rather go for a more for sure thing with fewer points of damage than I just hate seeing a bounce. I just hate seeing an artillery shell bounce. It just drives me nuts. See, look at that huge 82. Now, granted, it is a T29, you know, and it does matter where you're hitting them, but all right, so now my 6th sense went off, and I'm puckering a little bit, and I just want to get that one more shell off before, but it disappears. I do want to get one more shell off before I tuck tail. Yeah, my spidey sense said it's time to book it. Now the scores are pretty even, meaning you know, amount of players that are up. That it could go either way, you know. So I'm going to try to use this berm for some cover, but then again, I want to get my gun back into the fight and help my my teammates out. So let's see what we can do here. It's a side shot. We can get lucky. And we did. So that probably hit, you know, above the treads and either landed into the side of the hull or on the engine deck. Now I'm scoped in, so I have no idea what happened to the other tanks that were alive just a moment ago. But, you know, we just have just the enemy artillery left. Well, as usual, I'm going to go ahead and set sail and head in that direction. I might get lucky and get the opportunity to send a shell downrange at them. Probably not, though. Again, 26, 27 kilometers per hour in this particular terrain. And, you know, this tank goes medium but feels slow. It might be because of the traverse. Some tanks, they go slow, but they feel fast, like the M6A2E1. Feels faster than it is, in my opinion. All right, green team wins. Yay! So let's see what the reward is. 55,000 silver, 4,000 experience. Obviously, some of that has been helped out by the operational rewards, but not by a lot. You know, really the payoff comes from, I think, letting your reticle get as small as possible, make your shots count. Sounds probably common sense, but I have to say it. And then the other thing too is yes, I destroyed 2 tanks, but I think the real key to the success, or at least, you know, me being more successful than my other rounds, is that I hit the enemy 13 times. All right, folks. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed you visiting, and please stay tuned for more videos. Let me know that you liked it, subscribe, and give me a shout out. Stay in touch, and for goodness sakes, be safe out there. Take it easy.